Hello everyone, this is Lucy05 and welcome to the Comic Central Toy Review. And today's toy review, we're looking at the 2010 release by Hasbro of the Iron Man 2 action figure review. And today's action figure review, we're looking at the Comic Series number 29 of the Guardsman armor. Now I gotten this straight from a toy department store for 39 ringgit and 90 cents, and they pack a lot about this figure. It looks really gorgeous. Not too sure why a lot of people are not buying it yet. And I've been waiting for this figure to come out in Malaysia for at least a few months, I guess, ever since they first leaked out the images. And since America got it first, and then Philippines got it. And I kind of wonder why Malaysia got it so late. It's just beyond me. Anyways, in the front part of the packaging itself, you've got the Guardsman action figure. And on the side, you've got the Snap-on repulsor blast. And at the bottom, you've got the 3 armor cards, which actually you can actually switch around with the other Iron Man 2 figures that came along with the armor cards to create your own amalgamation of a weird, well, armor. Hiding behind the figure itself, you've got the base stand. At the back of the packaging, you've got the image of the Guardsman. And at the top here, you've got the biography of the Guardsman itself. And the character who wore the armor is named Kevin O'Brien, who went nuts due to a bug in the cybernetic interface software that drove him insane with jealousy. Really interesting. Then Justin Hammer took the armor spec and sold it to the vault. That's where you got a whole bunch of security guards wearing this. I'm gonna get a few more of these guys. Now, at the side here, you got series number 27, the Hulkbuster Iron Man. Series number 28, the Mark III Horn Face Iron Man. And series number 30, the Iron Man Mark 8 armor. So, I really babbled long enough. Let's open up this packaging so I can molest the toy. Be right back. And we're back of removing the figure and the rest of the stuff out from the packaging. Now let's take a look at the Iron Man 2 base stand. You got the standard base stand for the Iron Man 2 figures, and there's a peg there to fit at the bottom heel of the figure itself. You got a hole here and there's a hole there as well. Next we take a look at the empty slate there that Hasbro made without bothering to imprint the name of the figure itself. Not too sure why they want to waste money to add this piece here. It's just beyond me. Here, on the top part here, you got the 3 slots to fit the armor cards. You got the body, the legs, the arms, and head. Very nicely done. And you can swap around with the other Iron Man 2 figures that came along with the armor cards to make your own armor. Next, we have the Snap-on repulsor blast. It's actually a clear yellow translucent plastic, and it's actually quite soft, as you can see. It's way more better than the Marvel Universe Snap-on repulsor blast. I prefer this actually. Bottom part of the repulsor blast itself is the, well, blast effect. At the bottom part here, you got the hole to fit on the left fist of the Guardsman figure, like so. And it's tight and won't fall off. Very nicely done. But you can also fit on the right hand as well, but you need to adjust a particular position to actually fit it in. Let's see. Like so. Oh, it's a bit too loose. Here we go. See? Very nicely done. Now, let's take a look at the figures. The paint job is actually quite interesting. It's quite nice. Simplistic, but it's very shiny. I really like anything that's shiny. And I was quite surprised that after checking 10 over of this Guardsman figure in the toy department store, a lot of them don't have paint problems, which is kind of surprising. However, this version that I gotten had some paint problems. The dark green armband here is a bit faded off, so does the other one. This is just a little bit, but this is more obvious. But overall, the entire paint job is actually very nice, so I don't have much of a problem with the fading part here. Now, the face itself is also quite nicely done. We're using the same kind of paint job for the green, so it's very shiny. The eyes, however, is painted in silver. Very nicely done. In the back of the figure, really love this kind of paint job. Simple but striking. Now, the figure's sculpt is quite very nicely done. I really like the helmet sculpt itself, the face sculpt. The body, however, is overtly muscular. You can see the six-pack here. The body is beaming with muscles. Even the tie, and the back, and the funny part of the back of the figure, usually it would be a spine or something, but look at this, all the muscles going on. My god, very nicely done. Now let's take a look at the figure's articulation. The head can actually turn 360 degrees, but you can't pivot up and down. He can only turn. Torso, however, can turn 360 degrees, go backwards and forward, but it's loose, very loose. Luckily, the peg inside the torso itself is not too long, otherwise it will droop down wherever it is. Shoulders are able to turn 360 degrees and spread as far as like so. Elbow can turn 360 degrees and bend this far, like so. Wrist can turn 360 degrees, no problem. However, the hips, the ball joint, typical ball joint, because the peg is aiming at this direction rather to this direction, and you have to turn the ball joint to, position the figure. Now, due to the size of the thigh itself, or the sculpt of the thigh itself, you can only bend the legs this far, but at least it's much more better than the comic version War Machine. So thigh that goes 360 degrees, double jointed knee, as you can see here, but it's too loose. So does the other knee. The calf here can turn 360 degrees. Ankle can pivot downwards and upwards, like so, but it's also loose. So does the other one. I'm not too sure if this figure is the only figure that actually encountered this kind of a loose joint problems. Maybe it's just mine, who knows. But if the rest of the figures have this kind of problem, then that's bad news, whoever collects the Guardsman figure. Now, I really don't like super tight joints, and I don't mind loose joints sometimes, but this is way too loose. So if you want to pose the figure in some sort of fashion, maybe he's bending downwards or trying to fly, and you have, whichever fashion that you wanted to do. And if he's on the ground standing or whatsoever, it's just gonna flop over due to the weak knee joints and weak ankle joints. So if I'm gonna give a rating on this, I really like the figure. I really do. I really like the paint job and the sculpt, but the joints are being so loose, really, is bad. So if I'm gonna give a rating on this, I'll give it a 5 out of 10. Okay, he can still stand by his own. That's the good part. If he can't stand by his own, he will just drop down to 3 or maybe 2. But he's still able to stand by his own. Maybe you can still pose him around. That's still good. And his paint job is actually very nice to compensate with the weak knee joints and weak ankle joints. So 5 out of 10 for the Guardsman action figure. This is Lucy05, and I thank you all for watching, and I'm signing off.